If you look at this picture and you read this tweet, you'll quickly conclude that Dante Wright was a criminal. Now, some in the Democratic Party are pushing a conspiracy theory, which is why on this channel, I loudly, boldly, and confidently say that the systemic racism narrative pushed by Black Lives Matter and the Democratic Party is a conspiracy theory, which we're going to get to. According to AOC, Dante's killing was not random, disconnected accident. It was the repeated outcome of an indefensible system that grants impunity for state violence, rewards it with endlessly growing budgets at the cost of community investment. So what they're really saying is the system is inherently racist. Did you catch that part? That's what they're really saying. They're saying, hey, this situation right here is a reason why America and policing is systemically racist. All right, we're gonna talk about that, but I want us to first look at the man Dante Wright. And no, this is not. And anytime you want to do this, people want to say, "Oh, you're assassinating the character of someone who passed." No, the person assassinated their own character. The person painted their own character. The person did what they did when they were alive. The choices you make are a result of your character. So for us who are still alive moving forward, we can point to this character and learn from it. For example, if you're going to resist the police when you have a warrant out for your arrest, bad things are coming to you. My advice to everybody out there, do not resist cops. Do you want to live or do you want to perish? The choice is up to you. All right, so this tweet coming from Andy No. Dante Wright was arrested by police in the fatal encounter over a warrant for aggravated robbery. The BLM martyr choked a woman repeatedly and held her at gunpoint in late 2019. Wright's mother said her son was killed because of an air freshener. So the air freshener is just fluff. Okay, this is the mugshots of Dante Wright after he committed the heinous crime of holding a woman at gunpoint, robbing her for $820 or something like that. And this is the person that the media wants to paint out as this innocent young black man who was living a good life, and the cops rolled up on him because he was black. This is why systemic racism, as pushed by the Democrats, is a conspiracy theory. If you think the system had more to do with this than Dante Wright's own personal decision, then you believe in a conspiracy theory, because you cannot deny that the sequence of events went like this. Cops pulled over Dante Wright, rightfully. Cops found out and was detaining him for a warrant, rightfully. If he would have just got in the back of the car, he would still be alive. That is sequence number 3, the what if. But of course, step 3 of this sequence, instead of getting into the back of the cop car, the young man fights the cops, resists the cops, and you have a warrant out for your arrest, and you're resisting the cops, and you jump back in the car. What do you think is going to happen? Now, obviously, as I've touched on in my previous videos, the officer that deployed the gunshot is wrong, and today was charged with second-degree unintended manslaughter. But what came first, the system's failure or Dante Wright's failure? Clearly, the failure that came first was this young man trying to live a life of crime, trying to live a life of being a thug, trying to live a life that is contrary to being a law-abiding citizen. We have to just call it what it is. We have to call it what it is. The men have to stand up and not make excuses and say it loud and clear. Boys, Americans, people, if you want to live, don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. Do not commit crimes against your fellow American. Do not rob people at gunpoint. Do not wield guns and smoke weed and record it, be a unlawful gun owner, and at the same time getting high as a kite, which I'm going to show you, and then think that, oh, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm just living this life. Nothing's going to happen to me. And then when something does happen to you, it's big, bad, systemic racism. But this is the part that the media doesn't want you to know. All right. This is who the guy was. All right. This is who Daunte Wright was. All right. Sitting in the car with the gun, smoking weed. All right. Sitting in the car with the gun, smoking weed. So he's smoking marijuana. He's probably 19, 20 years old at this point. He is not supposed to have a pistol in his hand, a handgun. And this is the life he's living. This is the way he portrays himself. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, if you want to live this life, don't be shocked when this life comes back to bite you in the butt. And that's what every man needs to say. Ben Crump needs to be saying this. But of course, he sees this. Oh my goodness, this is a way to cash out. I got 27 million because of George Floyd. What can I get with Daunte Wright? All of us men need to stand up and say, no, you should not live like this. Because when you live like this, you make decisions like resisting the police. When you live like this, I keep pointing the wrong way. When you live like this, your life just may end tragically. It just may end tragically, which is what happened. So what came first? The system failing or the individual failing? Clearly, if Daunte Wright wouldn't have failed at being a law-abiding citizen, he would still be here today. That is a fact that nobody can disabuse, as Ron DeSantis says. So what they do, because they can't destroy that fact, is they want to feed into the conspiracy theory that the system is just out to get you if you're black and brown. It would have me believe that my brown skin is going to warrant profiling, is going to warrant bad treatment, is going to warrant death by the hands of a police officer, when these are the facts. All right. There is no such thing as white privilege. There is no such thing. Privilege, one, comes from God first and foremost. And then privilege comes from making good choices over a long period of time. There is good choice privilege. Yes. There is God privilege. Yes. There is being saved privilege, yes, but there is no such thing as white privilege. This is not a race crime, and people want to make money off of this. All right. People want to make money. And some of the people that make a lot of money selling conspiracies, because that is exactly what systemic racism is. All right. They make a lot of money selling this conspiracy, and people eat it up because they don't have the common sense or the unbiased position to actually look at what's being said. AOC joins the squad in blasting police over Daunte Wright shooting. Progressive Republican, let me please stop. Progressive Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said the police killing of Daunte Wright in Minnesota was the repeated outcome of an indefensible system, siding with fellow members of the squad who condemned the shooting and have called for abolishing the police. Now, I saw this tweet by Candace Owens, which is obviously a great one. She said, okay, these people that want to go ahead and abolish the police, how about they first move into the inner cities and then have the police abolished, and then we can move forward? Of course, that's not going to happen, because these people live in gated communities where you don't need the police because there's not a lot of crime and not a lot of violent crime. But of course, that makes so much sense that it's wrong. Daunte Wright's killing was not random, disconnected accident. It was the repeated outcome of an indefensible system that grants impunity for state violence, blah, blah, blah. Cameras chokehold bans, retraining funds, and similar reform measures do not ultimately solve what is a systemic problem. And there is the conspiracy theory, because they want to talk about the system, the system, the system. What about the system of self? I am a system. I am a human body system. And my mind tells me when I get into an interaction with a police officer to listen and obey, which is why I'm still alive. I've been pulled over several times in my life, and I'm still here, mainly because one, I'm a law-abiding citizen, and two, I listen and I follow direction. Very simple. But obviously, listening and obeying is something that's secondary, because it's the system. The system should be able to better figure out how to deal with people who aren't obeying. The system should be able to figure out how to deal with people that are a threat to the community, like Daunte Wright was. It's the system. It is the system. Policing in our country is inherently and intentionally racist, Talib wrote. Daunte Wright was met with aggression and violence. Well, that's because he initiated the aggression and violence. So he was met with what he initiated, and he was also met with a negligent cop. So no, this is not systemic racism. Please keep your conspiracy theory to yourself. If you want to walk around thinking that the police officers are out here treating black and brown people differently, then go ahead and live in that state of paranoia. Be that black or brown person that when they get pulled over, go ahead and have your heart rate just pound, pound, pound. Oh my goodness, they're going to get me. Oh my goodness. All right, go ahead. I'm not going to be that, because I know that if you walk a certain way, if you actually have integrity and character, if you follow the law, then you are going to live. But of course, they would have me believe, no. Your conservative values are racist, because this is intentionally racist, which is why we don't care what they say anymore. We don't care. Systemic racism is a conspiracy theory. You're over here thinking that the country is conspiring against you. Policing is conspiring against you. Healthcare is conspiring against you. Education is conspiring against you. The banks are conspiring against you. All of these things are against you. Oh, but it's not you, right? It's not the fact that you're making the bad choices. It's them. Okay, I get it. It's always them. It is always them, guys. It is always them, which is why we have to be able to stand up and say loud and clear that Daunte Wright's actions were wrong, and he was the catalyst to what happened during this situation. If he doesn't resist, if he does not resist, he's still alive. He is still alive. And everybody in his family wants to walk around and talk like he was this innocent little boy when he's smoking weed, has illegal guns in his possession, he committed a robbery, all of these things that they know their son and grandson committed. They know this about him, and yet they want to talk about how much of a good boy he was, how good of a father he was. Well, in late 2019, he probably either knew he was about to be a father or his child was already here. And guess what he was doing? Instead of getting money to try to save up for diapers or other things, he was out robbing people. So no, he wasn't being a good father. All right, don't show us a couple pictures and say, look at this. He was there for that moment, but the other moments, he was smoking weed in his car, pointing a gun at the camera. Other moments, he was robbing people. So, and then in his last moments, when the police are simply grabbing him and arresting him like they should, what does he do? What does he do? He decides to resist. This is what you don't do. So if I take anything away from this situation, I would tell everybody who watches this video, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. How do you want your life to end up? How do you want your life to end up? Like Dante's? Do you want your life to go from this to where Dante's life ended? Do not resist the cops. Do not be the reason why you have to be subjected to police negligence. Because the fact of the matter is, the sequence is still before us. Police pull over Daunte Wright. Police detain Daunte Wright. Step 3, Daunte Wright should have been in the back of the cop car. Daunte Wright aggressively and violently resists the police. So if that third step didn't happen, then the officers wouldn't have been prompted to yell, taser, taser, and then shoot their gun. So I'm going to leave that right there. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime I make a video. I will see you good people on the next one. Peace.